Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Women Racing to Win. Joe San Diego from the Grid Network, along with Daniel from Racers to Girls Behind the Helmet. We have a very exciting show covering some of the races across the globe, including right here, United States, Daytona, a couple big races coming up this weekend, and more. The 2021 W Series will start with Formula 3 racing over in Asia.
Well, hello. Good morning, everyone in the US, and good evening, everyone, if you're on the other side of the Atlantic. As you said, Joe, last week we had a couple of important races in Asia, in Dubai Autodrome, for both the Formula 3 Asian Championship and the Formula 4 UAE Championship. The Formula 3 Asian Championship, which made its debut in 2021 in Dubai after delaying its season by a couple of weeks, had its season opener with both Amna Al-Kubaisi and Irina Sidorkova making their Formula 3 race debut in Dubai. So it was very interesting to see them making their debut in Formula 3 machineries. Irina was set also to make the W Series debut in 2020. Of course, the season got cancelled, so she had the opportunity. She took the opportunity to switch to Formula 3 in Asia, so that she could prepare her 2021 W Series debut. Irina is 17. She was set to be the youngest ever W Series racer in 2020. With only 16 years of age. Still, she will be the youngest ever in 2021 at only 17. She comes from Russia, and she is supported by SMP Racing Academy, which is a very important young driver program for Russian drivers. In 2019, she competed in the Spanish Formula 4 Championship and also in the Russian Formula 4 Championship. She did pretty well in Russia. She claimed podium positions, while in Spain she had the opportunity to fight against both Belén Garcia and Nerea Martí, which she will race against again in W Series this year. So Irina is definitely a very important driver to look to in 2021, and of course the Formula 3 Regional Asian Championship has become one of the most competitive series in around the globe, especially in winter season. Because all of the international drivers are coming to this winter series to prepare their campaigns in Europe after that. Same things goes for the Formula 4 UAE, which races in both in Abu Dhabi and in Dubai, just like the Formula 3 Asian Championship, in order to avoid unnecessary travel this year due to the coronavirus pandemic. Of course, they decided to do a 5-week calendar, all racing in the UAE. And of course, in the Formula 4 UAE, we have Amna Al-Kubaisi coming back to the championship after last year. Hamda is Amna's sisters, of course. And in 1 week before, she claimed her first win of the season in Abu Dhabi in Formula 4. But then in Dubai, she had a little bit more of a challenging week. Amna, we are watching her graphic here, and we obviously encourage you to follow the drivers that we talk about. You can see all the Instagram and Twitter handles here on the graphic. Amna made her debut in Formula 3. She had unfortunately to step back one full season in 2020 due to the pandemic. She could not complete in any championship, while her sister was racing in Italy in the Formula 4 Italian Championship. So it was her first race after 1 year, and her previous race was in Abu Dhabi in the Formula 4 Cup, UAE Cup, where she won the race and became the first woman to win a support race in Formula 1. Of course, that race she was supporting the Abu Dhabi Formula 1 Grand Prix in 2019. Sorry, it's a very important racer. She made headlines all around the globe for that victory. But of course, the step to Formula 3 was a little bit more challenging, and of course, we all knew that. Just like for Irina. They had, of course, to adapt to the new car, and the grid they share the field in Formula 3 Asian Championship is a super high quality, super high level. There are several Formula 2 drivers, several drivers from the International FIA Formula 3 Championship, drivers coming from the Formula 3 Regional European Championship. So, and also more drivers making their switch from Formula 4 to Formula 3. So it's a very interesting mix of racers. And the races in Dubai were dominated by Guan Yu Zhou, the Chinese Formula 2 driver, and also part of the Renault Formula 1 young driver program. Behind Zhou, there were also Jihan Ruvala, and more drivers coming from Formula 2 backgrounds. So it was a hugely challenging weekend for both Amna and Irina to compete against those drivers with a lot more experience in these cars. But Amna nonetheless did pretty well, both in qualifying and in the first race. She came home in P16 in the first race, which was really impressive, I would say. Her lap times were very steady, were very consistent. Her pace was great, and she also made a couple of good moves, of good overtaking moves throughout the race. And she crossed the line in P16, which was, I would say, very, very promising for the rest of the season. Irina had a little more of a challenging first race, but then I would say that she also made great progress. If you see her lap times, her results from free practice 1 to the final race, it's unbelievable the progress that Irina made. She was 5 seconds off the pace in the first free practice session, and we all knew that it would have been very, very difficult for her to adapt straight away to a car like that, with no or very little testing of that car prior to the race weekend. But yeah, after the first practice session, she went to qualifying and improved, and she was like 2.5 seconds, 2 seconds, 1.7, 1.6, and constantly making progress. And in the first race, she was P21, which was pretty okay, considering that it was a very big field in Formula 3 Asia. In race 2, again she was P20, so again making progress. And she was P15 in the final race of the weekend, in race 3 on Saturday. And again, a huge progress from Irina since free practice 1 to the race 3. She also said that she was very happy with her performance. That of course she had to learn more, and she will definitely eye more improvements in this weekend and in the next one. But yeah, this season for her, I think it's all about learning, making improvements, and being prepared for the W Series debut. Well, Amna had, unfortunately, an accident in the opening lap of the second race, which of course took her out of race 2. And again, she could make some more progress in race 3, even though she had a problem in the opening lap, in the first lap again, and she struggled a little bit more to catch up with the group again in race 3. But she was P19, and I think her first race was the best one, with no issues, no technical problems, no accidents on track. She could show that really she belongs to, I would say, midfield. And for first time in this championship, in this car with such a highly competitive grid, I would say that it's very impressive and yeah, very promising for the races to come. In Formula 4, on the other hand, Hamda Al-Kubaisi, Amna's sister, as we said, she was coming from a race victory in Abu Dhabi the week before, and she had a little bit more of a challenging weekend, not what she would expect, not what she wanted. She had 2 out of the 4 races, as Formula 4 UAE is doing 4 races per weekend. They are already at their 4th round this coming weekend, and again also a 5-week calendar, so they're going towards the end of the championship. There is also a Russian driver, also sponsored by S&P, who is Kirill Zmal, who won 2 races out of the 4 last weekend. And but still, Dilano van Toff, the Dutchman from Excel Motorsport, is leading the championship. Hamda was third in the championship before the Dubai round. Unfortunately, DNF has put her back into P4 in the championship standings. She finished P4, and then unfortunately 2 DNFs in race 2 and race 4. In race 2, she had a very good start, actually. She was starting from the third row of the grid, and she was straight into second position after the first corner, but then she had a crash with another driver and retired in the second race. And then unfortunately she had a very unlucky technical issue in the formation lap of race 4, and so she had to stop even before the green flag. But yeah, this weekend Hamda is coming back to her home racetrack, which is Yas Marina Circuit in Abu Dhabi. And today they already had the 2 free practice sessions, and Hamda topped both sessions, so we can definitely expect more podiums and hopefully another win for young Hamda.
That'll be definitely exciting to see if she can pull off another victory, earn the top spot on the podium. Definitely will be encouraging everyone to be sure to visit Racers, the Girls Behind the Helmet, on Twitter for all the latest updates throughout the racing weekend. Now, this past racing weekend, of course, we all are aware, Daytona, the Rolex 24-hour race. We're going to talk about that shortly, but definitely want to hit about the Mazda MX-5 Cup. We had 4 racers there racing in the Mazda MX-5 Cup, all of them with Hickson Motorsports this year. And one of the big things we saw was Sabree Cook. She was in the event, of course. A lot of people recognize her from the W Series in 2019, where she has in total 3 top 10 finishes. When it came to race 1, overall 18th place. What makes this really challenging for all the drivers, especially after the bus stop, it is flat out for those Mazda MX-5s. Drafting is very similar to what we see in NASCAR, where you have a big pack of cars. When it came to the finish, a lot of people were sharing on YouTube the photo finish where you had 4 cars wide coming to the checker flag. Big pack of racing. So even though 18th place seems like, okay, that's a bit of a far way from the front, considering the big cluster of cars you had fighting, we've seen time and time again Daytona. One car, especially the lead car, gets in trouble, it'll take out about 5 or 6, sometimes even 8 or 10 cars. Got to put yourself in the right spot. Sabree Cook, race 1, 18th place. The second race, she did even better. She came home 13th place. So definitely it was overall a good race weekend for Sabree Cook. One of the big things, of course, with Sabree Cook racing, she comes from Grand Junction, Colorado. Definitely is looking forward to the 2021 season with Hickson Motorsport in the Mazda MX-5. Another driver that's also with them as well is definitely Hannah Grisham. Hannah Grisham, of course, she's definitely out of Glenadora, California. One of the big things, of course, for her, this is essentially another year of racing in Mazda Spec Series. One of the big things looking at Daytona is overall just having that consistency. She came home 21st in race 1. So one of the big things, of course, you want to look into improving for race 2, see where it could go, learn some new notes there, and she definitely did that, coming home 20th place. And of course, definitely one of the big racers to follow this year. And we encourage everyone, be sure to visit Hannah and all the racers we talk about, as we had their Twitter, Instagram handle displayed as well. The third driver that was also participating was Savannah Little. She got home 23rd in both respective races. She is from El Dorado Hills, California. Overall, wasn't too much of an eventful race weekend, some little issues here and there. And then, of course, we have Lonnie Unser, who she was racing as well. Lonnie Unser coming home 25th, 26th place. One of the big things, of course, this is the first race weekend. Lonnie did post it that while it was a challenging weekend, she still had a lot of fun, a big learning curve. So definitely we're looking for bigger, better things for all the racers in the MX-5 Cup. When it comes to the standings, of course, Sabree Cook is 13th right now in the championship standings. With these Sabree Cook there in 13th, Hannah Grisham 18th, Savannah Little 26th, and Lonnie Unser is 27th currently. The next round for the Mazda MX-5 Cup is St. Pete on April 23rd through the 25th. 7 races this season, most of them following IMSA or CART IndyCar. That includes Mid-Ohio, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, Road America, WeatherTech Raceway at Laguna Seca, and Road Atlanta to conclude the season. Now, as I mentioned, of course, a lot of them might be following either the IndyCar series or IMSA. And one of the big things we saw in IMSA, the Rolex 24 hours. And that's where we saw Christina Nielsen and Katherine Legge bring their GTD Team Harport EBM to the 10th place finish. Both of them driving, of course, a Porsche 911 GT3R. One of the big things, of course, according to Christina, a splitter issue with the car put them a few laps behind off the pace. So if that splitter issue didn't occur, they could have easily been higher up in the finishing order. That would have been really exciting, especially GTD. There was 19 vehicles in this class. This was the largest class for all of the tire classes out of the Rolex 24 hours. The next race for them will be Sebring 12 hours. Now, during the NBC broadcast, Katherine Legge was interviewed, especially about her recovery after breaking her leg, talking to Steve Letard. It was never an issue about will I come back? It was when will I come back? So definitely she was very excited to be back, just overall enjoying her effort with Christina in the Rolex 24 hours. And once again, a big congratulations on them. A 10th place finish in class, the largest class at the Rolex 24 hours. Overall, really great effort by all the racers at Daytona as they go to either St. Pete or Sebring in their respective series. Now, one of the big things, of course, speaking about respective series, we had to talk more about the 2021 W Series. Very excited about that. And Miki Koyama.
Oh yeah. Let me first say that speaking about W Series, I want to say a huge congratulations to Shea Holbrook, who was, of course, 2019 W Series driver from the USA, who is running Ixon Motorsports, the team that we talk about in the Mazda MX-5 Cup. Shea, of course, is a very talented driver, but also a new team manager. So she bought the team and she's running four ladies in that championship. So a huge congratulations to Shea. She's probably one of the most kindest person you will ever meet in a racing motorsport paddock. So huge congratulations to her. And coming to W Series, you say Miki Koyama, and I'm super interested to see what Miki can do in her second season in W Series, because in her first season in 2019, it was one of the surprises, I would say, the positive surprises of their inaugural W Series championship. Coming from Japan, she had never raced internationally before, so we didn't really know what to expect from Miki, who had raced in the Formula 4, in the Japanese Formula 4 championship prior to her switch into the Formula 3 cars of the W Series. I would say that in her home country, she was racing pretty much every weekend in both in single seaters and in GT cars. She had pretty good sponsors and results there. But of course, stepping up to the very competitive and difficult Formula 3 cars by Tatus was a very big step for Miki. So definitely seeing Koyama doing great results straight from early on in the season, it was a little bit of a surprise for everyone following the W Series, because of course she was also racing against much more experienced drivers and drivers with a lot of international single-seater experiences, like I would say Jamie Chadwick, Beitske Visser, Alice Powell. So Miki Koyama came into the championship and did a top 5 straight away in Hockenheim. She did a P4 in Misano, which was her best result of the season. Then again P7, P6. She was constantly in the top 10, again claiming great finishes and a lot of points. Then she had a little bit of a more difficult end of the season in Assen and in Brands Hatch. In Brands Hatch, she was starting pretty well after a decent qualifying, but then she had a challenging first lap, and I think she went off at the first corner, and then basically had a much more difficult race to finish the championship. But she was coming into the final event of the 2019 championship. She was one of the few drivers that already had a mathematical confirmation of being into the top 12 and so on the grid for the coming year. And then we see here a picture I took of Miki in Brands Hatch. One of the most striking things that I would say anyone would notice when speaking with Miki is how humble she is, and she really is hard on herself, a little bit too much, I would say, because when I spoke to her after the final race, and of course I congratulated her for being again in the top 12, so coming back for another season in W Series, very positive debut and a lot of points. And she said, "No, I'm not happy at all. It was not a good season for me, because I'm here to win, and unless you win, you cannot be satisfied." So she's really hard on herself. A huge work ethic. She is very respected in Japan. She did a couple of Formula 3 Asian races also last year to prepare for W Series. It was a little bit more challenging for her, not always towards the top end of the grid in the Formula 3 Asia. Also did one round in the freshly born Formula 3 regional Japan series this year, just 2 races, I think. But those championships are a little bit more challenging to follow, because for us here in Europe at least. But yeah, Miki is often on track, especially in Suzuka, so always racing, always training, in both Formula cars and in GT cars. And so definitely coming back for another season in W Series, it's going to be massively interesting to see if she can finally break into the top 5 more steadily, and continue her momentum that she built in her inaugural season in W Series. She has a huge following in Japan, so hopefully a lot more fans will be following her in her second year.
Very exciting for her, and especially everyone in Japan. I know definitely she's going to be one of the racers to follow. Very passionate about the motorsports, trying to go out there, get to win. And definitely, I think it's going to be a fan favorite. And of course, we encourage everyone to follow her. She's on Instagram. And definitely, this following weekend, we have a lot of races. I'll turn to you in a second. I do also want to remind everyone that 2 weekends from now, we will have special programming about the Daytona race weekend, including we're going to see Gracie Trotter in the ARCA series, Haley Deegan in the trucks. So definitely be sure to subscribe to the Grid Network, because the following weekend, we're going to have a lot of special programming. But this weekend, we definitely have several races going on, including one race going on right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is. As I said, the Formula 4 UAE and the Formula 3 Asian series are doing back-to-back 5-week calendar this year. So coming into the second event, second round of the Formula 3 Asian series, today we already have qualifying and the first of the 3 races of this round. Curiously, the Formula 3 Asian series is doing 6 races in 3 days. So we will have today race 1, tomorrow it's going to be race 2 and race 3, and then we're going to have 2 more races per day, both on Saturday and on Sunday. So huge program for all the drivers involved in the Formula 3 Asian Series field. Ahmed Al-Kubaisi had a massive crash yesterday in practice in Abu Dhabi. Unfortunately, she was okay. She tweeted yesterday evening after the crash. She had a crash with Alessio Deledda, who is also a driver that will step up to Formula 2 this year. How the crash happened, it's not perfectly clear because there was no footage of the practice sessions. But the medical car had to be deployed and the drivers had to be extricated from what we heard. The cars were not fine at all, but luckily the drivers were. Amda tweeted that she was kind of okay. She had just, she said, a wild headache for the impact, but luckily that was it. And today she could took part into both the qualifying, the Q1 and Q2, and the first race of the weekend. Of course, when the cars have to be rebuilt at the very last minute, you know that it's going to be a harsh weekend. You know it's going to be really difficult because you test all week and to fine tune every little detail, and then the car is destroyed and is rebuilt at the last minute. And of course the mechanics pulled off a brilliant work, and they worked all night to allow both Amna and Alessio Deledda to be on the grid today. But still, of course, it's never like doesn't feel like the car you were driving before. So Amna had a little bit of a challenging qualifying. She started P20, sorry, while Irina Sidorkova was starting P19. Irina had a very good start into the first race. She advanced to P17, and then she dropped a little bit back down the order. She finished the cross line to finish P20. Jihan Daruvalov, the Indian Formula 2 driver that will come back to Formula 2 even next year for Carlin, won the race. It was the first international victory for his Indian team, Mumbai Falcons, which is an Indian team that it's the first year that they're going international with their competitions. And Irina finished P20, while Amna had a little bit of a more tricky start of the race, but then recovered and charged back towards the end and made a couple of good moves, and she finished P18. So pretty decent start of the weekend for Amna, despite her very alarming crash yesterday. Luckily she's okay, and she will be back for 2 more races tomorrow.
Definitely, it's going to be really exciting to see how the weekend all shapes out for all the racers. And we encourage everyone, be sure to follow Racers to Girls Behind the Helmet. They have a full calendar and all the articles from this past race weekend and throughout the racing year. And of course, Grid Network, subscribe here. We're on the air every Thursday, as well as our regular program, Grid Live Pre-Race News Saturday, and Grid Tonight every Wednesday night. For Daniel at Racers to Girls Behind the Helmet, I'm Joe Samaniego. Thank you for watching today. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next weekend. Joe Samaniego here. Want to invite you to go check out Poblis. Poblis is a dog clothing and accessory company based in Austria. 10% of each of your purchases goes to helping dogs in need, whether it's homeless, sick, or ill dogs. This is one of the reasons why we support it. Kiska here is a rescue dog from rural Alaska and our Grid office dog. We care about our furry buddies, and we know you do as well. Definitely check out Poblis.com. There's a link on the video description, and by clicking on that link, you get a 10% discount on your purchase as well.